What's up? Today I just need to dispel some common mishap beliefs, facts, or not facts, just things people make up out of convenience or to make good stories. Because humans are storytellers. It's innate in our nature. I'm sure it started when people were living in caves, and after they finished the hunt, or you know probably wasn't that successful, and they because back then they didn't have like guns or all those special things you use to like mask your scent and stuff that you can buy at like hunting stores. And yeah, they didn't have very advanced like guns or anything back then, back in caveman Stone Age days. So of course, people back then mostly ate plants, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. Allowed us to get more energy, and that spurred all of society and I guess agriculture and pretty much brain power. And so I guess big brains came from nut seeds. Okay, if big brains comes from meat, because first myth here, a lot of people say that eating meat was what made humans human, because yeah, meat equals big brains. And okay, this is the biggest myth. It's really, really stupid. If meat equals big brains, why are lions the smartest animal? So no, the brain runs on glucose, which comes from carbohydrates like fruit, nuts, seeds. It does not protein. It doesn't. There isn't any advantage to eating lots of protein, because the human body, we cannot store protein. You're recommended to eat half a gram per kilogram of body weight per day, and that's already twice as much as a human regularly uses on a daily basis. And I guess even today, like when most people are just doing very little manual labor, or your job is mostly sitting on a computer, or your pastime is like just watching TV, you're not playing sports, you're not out doing soccer or jumping rope or fighting martial arts again, and so on. So we really do not need that much protein. Even if you were working out a lot, you need more energy, not more protein. Energy comes from fat, carbohydrates, and so extra protein. It's actually not very healthy to eat lots of protein. It can be carcinogenic, and uh, your body cannot store protein, so it just gets converted to carbohydrate anyway. So, is there any reason to eat lots of protein? No, it's like even plants know this. Like, if you know anything about carnivorous plants, Venus flytraps, in nature, carnivorous plants only grow in areas with a very poor soil. They evolved for areas with a very soil that has very low nutrients, not enough for plants really. So the plants, when they want to grow there, they think, okay, I can't get it from the soil like I normally do, so I'll just find a way to eat insects, or sometimes frogs even. Or there are carnivorous plants that they just produce a lot of sweet nectar to attract like weasels and bats, but like they're obviously not gonna eat weasels and bats. They just hope that since the weasel or bat is eating all that nectar, it needs to go to the bathroom. It poops inside the plant, and the plant just waits for rain to wash that down its like stem or whatever, its pitcher. And uh I guess that's where the plant gets nutrients. Poop. Um, Or even people will try to take Venus flytraps into their home. They think they're gonna get Venus flytraps to eat all their plants, and no, it doesn't work like that. If you supply the Venus flytraps with fertile nutrients, which more than likely you use just potting soil from whatever Dollar Tree store, wherever you buy potting soil. And I mean that's for like normal plants don't that don't eat insects. So soil has plenty of nutrients. Then the plants will be like, okay, I can get everything I need straight from the soil, like all nitrogen and phosphorus, it's all in the soil. So why would I waste so much energy trying to eat an insect and digest meat? Like, it's total waste of energy. Like, the the insects could land right in the like pitcher of the mouth of the plant, but it's still like, okay, but I could eat this, but it would be a waste of energy, and I want to live. So, yeah. Um. So yes, those are not protein. We don't really need that much. It actually there's no benefit. It's actually a lot of disadvantages to eating large amounts. It can cause cancer and much other stuff like moles, and I'm sure it causes like gout, heart disease, uh, diabetes, whatever. And the other one was a meat does not equal bigger brains. Like if cats and dogs they eat a lot of meat. Like wolves, cats in nature they evolved to eat a lot more meat than us. Like they have very sharp teeth. That's why, like, so that they can run up to whatever prey in nature and use its teeth to pierce its flesh. But we don't have that, so we're obviously not meant to eat like them. And so if they eat so much meat and it makes them smart, why can't cats from my neighbor's house send me an email and why is the dog still drinking from the toilet? I mean, no. Uh, Carnivores aren't that smart. Omnivores aren't that smart. Um, and the thing that likely separated humans from the rest of the apes was a mushroom, like hallucinogenic mushrooms. I know there's a stoned ape hypothesis. And it's likely they're the one food that allows you to see things beyond, like, incorporate the whole universe into your being, or I don't know, these plants do a lot of communication. They can talk to you. It's pretty amazing. Another myth I wanted to talk about, uh, another food myth about carrots. The You might see baby carrots in the store. Like I see people eating baby carrots a lot more than I see people eating regular sized normal carrots, and they might think like, I don't know, the baby carrots are more convenient, or but they're not as healthy. Like if a lot of people say they're eating them to be healthy or whatever, but if you're eating baby carrots, they were just big carrots chopped into tiny pieces. Like, so baby carrots, yeah, they're just someone took a big carrot and they chopped it into pieces. And well, no, actually, they have machines do the cutting of the big carrots. They take a bunch of regular sized big carrots and put them into machines, and the machine turns them into these tiny fragmented carrot sticks. Also, the baby ones are washed with chlorine to preserve their shelf life, extend their shelf life. So, no, I don't think baby carrots aren't really worth eating. Their trash. Uh, if you're trying to be healthy, don't eat baby carrots. Let's see. I want to talk about the sugar in fruit. You might have heard about that. For some reason, that makes fruit controversial. Which I mean, our closest relatives are like chimpanzees, bonobos, and don't they eat a lot of fruit? Like, I'm sure if you present a chimpanzee or a bonobo with like I don't know, some bananas, grapes, pears, and then over here you have some, I don't know, lettuce, some carrots, jicama, artichokes, and over here you have, I don't know, like ribeye steak and bacon and uh, cheese and whatever. Uh, and over there you have like some nuts and walnuts, almonds, whatever. The primate is obviously gonna go for the fruit first. Then I'll eat the nuts. Then I'll go to the vegetables. Then I'll just stop eating probably. Uh, I mean fruit were biologically designed and has so many benefits for us. Like, I mean it evolved with us. Like, let's say you're out in the woods and this is a time before grocery stores, before even agriculture, and you are just looking for something to eat, and there might be some mushrooms on the ground and might kind of blend in, and they're, pretty small, like hard to tell. And these mushrooms, you're not even sure. Like, some are poisonous and some you can eat, and then you got this green stuff, vegetables like wild kale and watercress, and maybe a wild artichoke, which looks nothing like actual artichoke. So if you didn't know any better, if someone didn't tell you, you probably wouldn't know that those things are food, really. They just look like all the other vegetation. They blend in. Or you got these trees, these like apple trees, orange pear trees, they produce these round things that look very much like food. I mean, they might even be aromatic, you might smell the fruit without even touching it. You don't even have a look at it. Might be behind you on the scent, and you're like, you felt food. I better go grab that apple or whatever. And it's brightly colored. It requires minimal processing. Like grains, of course, they need to be cooked, or and if you really want to put in the time and effort into making them into like cornmeal or I don't know, wheat flour or mill the wheat or whatever rice. I mean, just harvesting it, getting a like actual as much rice off the ground as you would normally get from, something you'd buy at the store, a bag of rice. It's like takes hours. It's a lot of labor. But the fruit, it's really easy to just pick off the tree and doesn't require processing. Like the tree wants you to eat the fruit. It That's why it makes it brightly colored, because our eyes, we evolved to distinguish between all those colors to know when food is ripe, and like green peppers aren't as ripe as red, so you know um and because that's how the tree reproduces. It makes fruit because it wants animals or humans are animals to eat the fruit, and hopefully it wants you to eat the seeds. I mean, I guess nowadays we know better. Now we have agriculture and everything. Like, some seeds aren't really good to eat. Some are like have cyanide or arsenic in them, and I can tell you. Um, so that substrate reproduces it. It wants you to eat the fruit. So, I mean, some people say that eating fruit is the only food where humans don't have to kill like animal products, of course, like the animal died. For you to eat that burger or hot dog or I don't know, steak or whatever, yeah, they had to chop up the animal and kill it. A lot of blood was shed, which I mean, it's just unnecessary violence, which we definitely could use less of violence. I know back in like the time of the I don't know in Lisbon in Portugal, they would do those massacres of the Jews, the secret Jews who tend to be Christian but were still Jewish in secret. Like, and then they would do things like paint Bible, biblical scenes on their chests with burning oil and all those hangings and guillotines. And okay, so back then, yeah, people were a lot more violent. Like Marilyn Manson says, times have not become more violent, just more televised. Yeah, it's gone way down. There are fewer and fewer wars, and still there's terrorist groups and stuff that the world would definitely be better without. But we're on our way. We're doing the best we can. So, oh yeah, I want to talk about killing. Okay, animal products like even dairy and eggs. They might say they don't kill the animal, but well, what do you think happens to the dairy cows or the egg-laying chickens once they just get to that age where they're not as profitable, where they are too old to produce as much milk? Like they just produce less milk or fewer eggs. They can live 10 to 20 years in the wild. That's their average lifespan, 10 to 20 years. But in the egg or dairy industry, they are killed at just 1.5 years. And then their bodies are chopped up and just go into, processed foods. And so it's still killing. And I mean, that's still torture. The animals still suffer. I don't think they're not happy to give us their milk or eggs. And even vegetables, like, I got that it's not really, you don't really think about it. Like, well, the thing is, when you eat a tuber, like the bottom part of plant, like the roots, could be horseradish, it could be beets, turnips, potatoes, or even the leaf part, spinach, arugula, kale, whatever, or the stems of artichokes, carrots. Um, you don't think of that as killing, like the plants don't really think like that. That does make it less likely for the plant to produce. So if we eat fruits or nuts, that makes the plant more likely to reproduce because the nut or seed goes through your digestive system, and then they want that animal or human to poop it out somewhere, like once they walk away somewhere else, and then it'll wait for a really heavy rainfall, and then the seed will or nut will continue to germinate, and there's going to be a new, I don't know, walnut tree or cashew tree or apple tree or whatever. Um, so uh, pl- we do kind of kill plants. I mean, they do things like sunflower. It can follow the sun with its, like it knows where the sun is. So I guess like some people like I know in Wicca or probably some other tradition, lots of other tradition, they say if you wanna get a like a stick for your wand from a tree, try to look for a fallen stick. Because I guess hurting the tree or if you're using a leaf for a ritual for a magic trick, use a fallen leaf. Try to get a fallen leaf. Um, don't take things forcibly off the tree. So, I mean, that's controversial in Wicca and other traditions, I always say. It's controversial. Some people think it does hurt the tree, and I've heard of people being sensitive enough to like feel a tree's pain. So I don't know. You guys tell me in the comments what you think of that. Like, and I encourage you to, I want to see what you people think of my crazy ideas. And then mushrooms, I guess, are um, it is the fruiting body, so but I guess once you remove it from the ground, from where it was, the spores from the mushroom aren't going to be carried by the wind or the rain, and so maybe I think we're meant to eat mushrooms, but I don't know what you, but some people have what they feel like doing, what they're willing to do. Another myth I want to talk about are canine teeth. Well, lots of herbivorous animals have canine teeth. A lot of people say, but we have canine teeth, so aren't we meant to eat meat? We use these for eating meat. Well, one, if you look at the canines of an omnivore, like a bear or even a dog or cat, those animals, their teeth are a lot sharper. Like our teeth look a lot more like a horse or a zebra than a dog or a cat. Like those are omnivores. They're meant to be able to run up to an animal in nature and they can pierce its flesh with its teeth, which we can't do that. So I'd like to see a person try to kill an animal with just their bare hands or their teeth. Like we don't have claws, so we're not like bears. Um, Other animals they can do it with just their own physical tools, like, and we have to invent guns, bow and arrows, specialized sense so the animal can't and smell you, or uh, I guess duck calls, like things, those decoy ducks or whatever. Yeah, I've seen it's disgusting. I've seen hunters, they use decoy ducks to attract more ducks so they can shoot the ducks. It's really not pretty. Um, and the hippo is actually has the largest canines. So for self-defense, like hippos, they don't eat plants. And the strongest animals in the world, oxen, horses, elephants, rhinos, gorillas, they eat plants and nothing else really. Like they do eat bugs occasionally. I'll tell you sometimes, like some of them, but I mean that's because they don't have agriculture. They don't have grocery stores, or they can make things at lab. Uh, on B12, I guess some people bring up B12. Like can't get that on a vegan diet. It's only an animal meat. Um, Well, the animals don't make B12. Like, there's no animal and no plant that makes B12. Cobalamin, yeah. Cobalamin is a scientific name. And B12, it comes from the bacteria in soil. So humans used to naturally get it from when we drank unfiltered river water or just dug things out of the ground and ate them right then and there. But okay, now thanks to centuries of intensive farming, most soil doesn't contain B12, so the only source are supplements. So vegans rather take supplements. Even vegetarians and meat eaters, they say, like a lot of people are deficient without knowing, and a deficiency, if it goes on for too long, can cause a permanent nerve damage. So of course, I think pretty important to supplement with B12. It allows your cells to communicate with your brain and everything. So B12, it's important. Like it comes from dirt. Obviously, we were meant to have a lot more exposure to dirt than we do these days. But so the only reason it's in animal meat is because like the farmers, they know that these animals they spend zero time outside. Not that they would get B12 anyway because the pesticides kill bacteria that produce B12, and the soil has been intensively farmed for centuries, so it doesn't have B12. Uh, So to keep the animals alive, the farm workers, they just put in like B12 supplement with the feed. They mix it into the feed to so that the animals are able to stay alive, well, close to death, but alive. Um, so it's binded to the animal's muscles, so it's kind of hard for people to absorb it. So it's most absorbable when you just take a supplement yourself. Or maybe try eating some soil because that might have B12 somewhere, and some soils do, some soils don't. Another myth. All the people who were hanged at the Salem witch trials in Massachusetts, um, like none of them were, yeah, they were all hanged. None of them were burned at the stake. A lot of people think they were burned at the stake, but no, they were hanged. Um, Actually, a lot of them, well, they weren't really witches, just there were. It's likely that people doing witch trials back in history, they ate a lot of rye bread back then, and there's this mushroom called lysergic acid. It produces lysergic acid, better known as LSD, and it grows on rye plants. It's notorious for growing on rye plants. So those people like King Henry or people in Salem, Massachusetts, like they thought there were witches out there to get them or whatever, seeing all these crazy things. So they were probably high on LSD and they didn't know it, which could be true or not. I mean, a lot of people during the Salem witch trials, they brought up spectral evidence in the courtroom, like things that they could see this figure of kind of like the Grim Reaper or whatever, but you know, they could see it, no one else could. So it's like I don't know what that means, but another myth, peeing on a jellyfish sting is gonna, you know, make it like disinfect it or whatever and make it stop stinging. No, uh, wash, your best bet is to wash jellyfish sting with salt water, um, or I mean, even dousing, rubbing vinegar on it kind of disinfects to get rid of the stinging cells, to disinfect it, and so urine, it doesn't really work. Another thing I want to talk about, rat poison or the things we used to, oh, a lot of these scientific studies like research on, some people point out that soy is like bad for men because like phytoestrogens in plants. And, well, I want to disclaim there's a big myth that you know plants raise your estrogen and whatever, but if they did, they would cause some cancers like breast cancer, prostate cancer, colon cancer. But animal products do that a lot, actually. Like, because like dairy and eggs, they have a lot of protein. Like those animals, they're supposed to grow a lot faster. Chickens, birds, they hatch and they in 3 months they're supposed to be able to fly away and make their own nest. Like, so they grow a lot faster. They need to eat a lot more protein. But humans, we grow the slowest of any animal. So human breast milk has the lowest protein content. So protein, it's we don't really need that much. So we want to talk about the estrogen in soy. Well, it's phytoestrogen. It's not really estrogen. Phytoestrogen means it's estrogen-like. It's not really estrogen. I mean, there's straight estrogen in dairy and cow's milk and eggs, but so the phytoestrogens in plants, they're estrogen-like, so they can bind to the estrogen receptors in the human body, but they don't activate them because they're not the right molecule. But once they're binding to the receptors, they block actual estrogen from. They make it so actual estrogen cannot, I guess, be the sex hormone it's supposed to be in, not get too aggressive or too abundant where it causes breast cancer, prostate cancer. And a lot of these studies, like and researches that show the toxic effects of like eating, raw mushrooms, raw peanuts, or eating too much, I don't know, apple seeds or whatever. A lot of these studies are done on rats, usually with like an isolated compound from the food. And I mean, well, humans, we're not as susceptible to like toxins as rats. Like rat poison, I know it kills rats, just a small amount. Well, the rat eats it, they die. And I mean, humans, obviously, we're not gonna die from rat poison, but definitely should not eat rat poison. Please, no one try to eat rat poison. And even the things that are made, or like the compounds that are kind of rat poison, like supposedly fluoride used to, before it was in public drinking water, it was used as the rat poison. So fluoride poison, and you'd be surprised at all the other compounds in your maybe cosmetics or even body wash or um, mouthwash or lots of things you use on a daily basis, like maybe even some processed foods that have fillers. The fillers might have like derivatives from rat poison or whatever. So I don't know. Really do your own research. That's important. So what I wanted to get back to, the thing I was talking about, was the myth about soy. Now, it lowers total estrogen, so I think soy is pretty good. It's a good food. It's superfood. And the only way it could possibly affect your testosterone, over testosterone, is if you drink 54 and a half gallons of soy milk a day. So that'd be like, if you drink bathtubfuls of soy every day, that would be a problem. But no one eats that much, so yeah. And a lot of people talk about the soy in the Amazon rainforest, like need to cut down rainforest to make soy, which yes, in the Amazon rainforest they are tearing down a bunch of land to become either cow cow pastures to raise beef, or soybean plantations to raise soybeans, lots of soybeans. That's because, well, when 85% of soybeans are used to feed animals, like they find soybeans from the Amazon to feed chickens, pigs, turkeys, salmon, shrimp, tuna. Um, they use soy to feed like goats. Pretty much all animals are. Yeah, that's why they also feed these animals red Skittles, large amounts of red Skittles, because the red dye makes their skin or their meat look actual red, like it's supposed to. Because if they're eating an unnatural diet, like they're eating like unnatural things like wheat, corn, or soy, and the color, it's not, and their flesh red like grass would. I mean, because their natural diet is just grass. But you know, farmers realize that when cows or pigs or goats eat a lot of grass, like their main food is grass. Grass is very energy not dense. There isn't much energy in grass, so it takes animals far longer to acquire enough nutrients from the grass. Like, they might, in the 8 years, it might eating grass, they might get the nutrients in 8 years, but if they ate things like soy or wheat or corn or even ground up piece of other animals, then it would take them maybe like 8 months or 1.5 years. Check into what your animals are being fed, because I mean, I think even when you go to a restaurant and they say wild caught salmon or wild caught tuna or grass fed beef, grass fed butter, like, well, one, how do you know that's true? Because a lot of these companies, they just know, okay, if we say it's free range or humanely raised or grass fed, it'll just, people are more likely to buy it. So it's like the job of the person whose job it is to like sell that food, to raise those animals. Okay, their job is not to make sure you're healthy, to make sure the clients are healthy, or that they have access to accurate information. Their job is to get you to buy their product. It's to make money. So um, if you go into nature and get it yourself, like like the whatever fruits, vegetables, or kill animals yourself, or which I don't recommend, but whatever. Like if it's straight from nature, then you actually know where it comes from, that they ate a natural diet, or that there's actual nutrients in it. Like even coffee beans, like if you buy actual coffee beans, then and grind it up yourself, then you know it's real coffee. But if you buy packaged coffee, like, and sometimes they add like fillers, like dirt, twigs, sawdust, uh, yeah, to make it cheaper. Like one guy said to me, when I talked about mock meats, he was like, "You mean that pink slime? You think I want to eat that?" Well, no, that's in the meat that you eat. So, thing about pink slime, McDonald's and Arby's they're known to use pink slime. And the other restaurants, all the other like Burger King, Wendy's, whatever, uh, it's not known whether they use pink slime, but it's more than likely. I mean, these restaurants, their job isn't to produce like healthy food. Their job is to make money. So, like, if pink slime is cheaper, then why wouldn't they just use pink slime? And all the ground beef at like supermarkets, it's been tested and over 75% is just pink slime. Um, oh, and the soy, just because you don't eat things like tofu and tempeh, mock meats, doesn't mean you don't eat soy. Uh, a lot of people say vegans, be tearing down rainforest so that you can eat tofu or whatever. No, just because you don't eat mock meats doesn't mean you don't eat soy. Soy is used in a lot of processed foods, including baked goods like breads, cookies, crackers. It's used in canned meats like tuna, chicken. Soy is a stabilizer in uh, candy bars like canned soups and broths, infant formula, cereals, probably a whole bunch of other stuff. And, packaged meals, I guess. So, are there any other myths? I can't think of any, so just think this video is already long enough, and I hope that you do your own research. And oh, one more myth I want to talk about. School getting you to be a well-rounded individual, which I mean is a good thing. It's good to know how things work, I guess, how to learn and not how to think and not what to think. That's why experiential learning is so much better than just reading, taking tests and stuff. So I mean, actual experience, like person who I don't know goes on an internship for a year to learn how to like chop down trees and turn the wood into like uh I don't know tables and chairs and other like knickknack souvenirs you'd make from wood. They know more about it, how to make souvenirs from wood, than like a person who just reads about it for 10 years. 1 year of experience actual doing it is better than 10 years of just reading about it. Um, but again, I think becoming a well-rounded individual, you could learn all that information just by meditating, by just sitting in one place and thinking for meditation. It's awesome. So get into it. Uh, Love you. Bye.